Hello everyone, welcome. Rabbi Abe here. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to read from the Zohar, study just a little bit about the energy that's going on now. We're going into the book of Leviticus, which is very significant, and it's very misunderstood in the Bible. So the Zohar, we know, is a code book. For those of you not aware, the Kabbalah, a lot of it is based on the writings of the Zohar, that is the Book of Splendor, which was revealed about 2,000 years ago. And for the Kabbalists, it represents the secrets which are behind the Bible. For the Kabbalist, you can't understand the Bible in a literal sense. A lot of things don't even make sense over there. All kinds of stories about whatever. You can read the Bible for yourself. But the Zohar is kind of like the code book, and it gives us insights to even life, all right? How to understand the Bible in a spiritual sense, and also use it practically that our life will become better. So I'm reading to you from the Zohar of Leviticus, Vayikra. We're just entering that book, which is the third book of the 5 books of Moses, which we're entering into. And I'm going to read that section because, again, the Zohar follows the different Torah portions weekly. There's always another portion, so some of you may be aware of that. Okay, let's go right into it. Rabbi Elazar patach sha'alacha ot me'em Hashem Elokecha ha'omek sha'ola or hagabe lamala. Okay, I'm reading the Aramaic because this talks to our soul. It's beneficial. Even if we don't understand it. It awakens the lights in our soul. That's what the Zohar says. And it also creates a purification, helps us to purify on a soul level. So, what does it say? Rabbi Elazar patach. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author, or the one who revealed the Zohar, 2,000 years ago, he opened the discourse and he said, he quotes a verse from the Psalms, ask a sign from God from the depths or from the heights above, from the heavens above. That's a code, okay? And he says like this, Histakalti b'dorot harishonim v'dorot ha'achronim. I have looked into the prior generations and I have looked into the latter generations. Now, we might ask, how did you do that? Did you have a time machine? Prior generations, we might understand, but how did you look into the future generations? Okay, that's a question. What was the difference between the prior generations and the future generations? What was the difference? The prior generations understood basically spiritual things. Okay, now we might think we're spiritual people, and maybe for our generations we are, but for generations a couple of thousand years ago, we would not be able to touch the hem of their garment, as they say, because they were really, really very, very connected cosmically. Far more intellectual, we smarter, but they had spiritual connection, and they were truly spiritual people. So he says the prior generations, they knew how to look into the upper wisdom. Very significant, especially if you follow my channel and you've done some of the downloads and you're using some of the tools like the Ana B'Koach, like the 72 names, what's in back of me. What is he saying? He says they knew how to combine. Prior generations knew how to combine the letters that Moses was given at Sinai 3,500 years ago. So Moses came down the mountain 3,500 years ago, and he came with whatever it was, the first set of tablets, which represents one level. The people were not ready for whatever reason. They built the golden calf, and he came back down with what is called the second set of tablets, which is the Bible that we know today, the 5 books of Moses. The first set of tablets represents what's called Eitz HaChaim, the tree of life, and the second set of tablets represented the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Why? Because at the first point, when they went through the desert, they had achieved a level of unity and connection that they completed the spiritual job on earth. And so they were ready for the ultimate, for the process to be over. Death was going to be over. Chaos, pain, and suffering was going to be over. All of that, none of that stuff would exist anymore. However, when Moses went up to fetch the manifestation, which would have been the spiritual system for the corrected people, what happened? They built the golden calf, however that happened, and then, the forces that be, Moses, God, understood they're not ready, and Moses, they say he broke it or it fell out of his hand, it became heavy, and he went and came back down with what is called the Bible that we know, but it's associated with the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, why do I say that? Because it represents this world in which there's good and evil, and we need free choice to achieve our spiritual work. Without free will, we're not able to do anything. And that's why the Bible is filled with all kinds of stories of good and bad and war and incest and all kinds of crazy things there. But they tell us, the sages tell us, that every word, every letter contains secrets, which is of course also why we have the Zohar, and we're reading from the Zohar, because it is up to us to decodify, which is part of the spiritual work, to help us understand what life is about. So it's not just given to us. Nothing is given to us in this world after the second set of tablets. Tree of knowledge of good and evil means one thing: free will. We have to have free will. And in order to have free will, there has to be bad, there has to be negativity, there has to be evil, along with the good. So God is only good, but we have free will, and we can choose to do things not in the right way. We can choose bad, and we often do, unfortunately. And that extends our spiritual work, extends our karmic process, extends what we call the tikkun. It gives us more work. We make our life kind of more chaotic, in a sense, okay? But that's what free will does, okay? We can't just do whatever we want, right? There are consequences, spiritual consequences. Freedom doesn't mean, well, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. No. Spiritual freedom means I can understand how to restrain myself from my desires, that I'm not a slave of my desires. That's why Passover is coming up now, because that's one of the tools that we were given by the Creator to help us take control of ourselves, and thereby controlling our life. Because when chaos, pain, and suffering occur, do we have free will then? No. The free will exists beforehand, so we can control the negativity before it happens. That's why we were given spiritual tools and spiritual work. So while a person says, well, I can do whatever I want whenever I want and I'm free. No, you're not, okay? Because do whatever you want whenever you want, then you are more subject to the influences of the chaotic system, unfortunately. Yeah. And do you have free will then? No. What happens, happens. That's not free will. Free will is controlling ourselves ahead of time, resisting our urge to be selfish, egotistical, and whatever the corrections of life are. And by doing that, we avoid or we eliminate or we shorten the, whatever negative processes we may have to go through. Okay, so what he's giving us here is the secret of the tools of what are called the letters. The letter referring to the Hebrew letters. And he says like this, Yodim letzaref ha'otiyot shenatnu leMoshe miSinai. They knew how to combine. That the earlier generations knew the secrets of combining letters. They knew how to combine the letters, meaning to form different I don't know, spiritual compounds. Like the 72 names behind me, they're not words. Very often you guys ask me, well, can I say them in English? There's nothing to say, even if you know Hebrew. They are not words. They are combinations, okay? And these combinations create specific spiritual forces that we can tap into, regardless of whether we understand the language or not, or even recognize the letters with our intellectual brain, because our soul emanates from the same place that the letters come from. If you study, on a deeper level, if you study with me personally, those of you who do that know that, you understand that that's part of what the Kabbalah explains. So when we connect and contemplate those letters, we awaken those lights within our soul, whatever they are. If it's for healing, if it's for removal of negativity, if it's the environment, if it's healing, whatever it is. So they knew how to combine the letters. Now, he says, in those days, in ancient times, even the evil people knew how to do this. Okay? They understood that within the letters there is upper wisdom. Upper wisdom doesn't mean like wisdom, of the brain. Upper wisdom is a spiritual light. It's a spiritual force. It's a level of consciousness which is way beyond nature. It is almost a direct connection. And he says that's what in the prophets it says, ask for a sign, because in Hebrew, ot could be translated as sign, but actually it means a letter. Ask for a letter in the heavens above or in the depths below. Why? Why did the prophets say that? Exactly. What did that mean? It's a code. Yod'im b'otiyot elyonot. Because they understood the concept that there's an upper letter, not the letter that you see, but there's an upper letter, meaning the lower letter signals of force in the upper world. And that's what he says. The upper letter comes from the place which is called Bina. Those of you who know the tree of life, Bina is the third stage, the third sphera, Keter, Chochma, Bina. And he says the upper letters are drawn from the level of Bina. Otiyot tachtonot, and the lower letters, there are lower letters, hanimshachot mimalchut. And these letters are emanating from the world of Malchut, kingdom, the manifestation level. So we have upper letters, Bina, lower letters, Malchut. And Malchut is always the vessel of revelation. So they knew how to draw the energy of the upper letters by the forms, because the forms are what awaken the spiritual lights that are manifest on the physical level. That's what we do. That's why we say scan the letters, contemplate, meditate on the letters, not read them. Read them is a different thing. Reading them but deals with the intellectual mind, which is a much lower level. Okay? So, the paradox is the part that we don't understand is a higher level than what we do understand. And that's really what's running things. So, the upper letters from Bina, the lower letters from Malchut. He says, Chochma lahanig peulot ba'olam hazeh. With this wisdom, they were able to control matters in their life. They were able to control matters in their life. Now, that's crazy. Maybe you think that's crazy, but you know what? It's not so crazy, because in life we're given different things to do. We were given spiritual tools. Yeah, we all have work to do. We all come here with a package. Baby is not innocent. Baby already comes with a package. It has a soul. It already has a package. We came with that. We came here to correct. And when we correct what we came here to correct, our life becomes better, more improved, more prosperous, more abundant, more loving, more whatever. It's not psychology. You can do all the psychology in the world, but you're still looking at things from the physical perspective. That's not where things begin. Things always begin from the 99%, from the soul. How can I fix anything if there's something on a soul level and I'm fixing it on the superficial level? From thoughts, from environment, from my past experiences. It's good to a point. It's good to a point. It's like someone who says, yep, I just let go of all my anger. I learned to let go of my anger. I say, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it's possible to let go of your anger. You know why? Because there's something inside that is triggering you. So while on the surface you may have let go, you think, of your anger, when the right moment comes along and the right trigger comes along, boom, you're going to get angry again. Why? Because you didn't fix it from the seed level. You don't understand what responsibility is, spiritual responsibility in any given situation. So if you have a situation that's making you angry, just know, you may not understand it totally now, but just know you have a responsibility over there that you are not dealing with. And that's what makes you angry, because you blame someone else. Doesn't matter what. You hold someone else responsible, you're not taking responsibility because you don't know how, understandably. So there's responsibility that must be taken, and that removes anger from the root level. You cannot just let go of anger. It must be taken out from the root level, like a root canal. That's what we call dealing with the inner part, not only the external, the internal. Imagine you have a shadow on the wall. You're making with your hand a shadow. And try to change the hand by trying to move the shadow on the wall. How successful will you be? Of course you can't. Cannot. If you want to change the shadow, you must change what's going on with the hand. And that analogy means the hand is the soul. The hand is what's going on inside me. The hand represents what's going on a spiritual level. What we see already on the wall is just a result. What we see happening in life is only a manifestation. If we want to change something, and this is telling us the letters can help us, and you can download all you want on our website, free at rabbieabe.com, but this is assisting us. These letters are combinations to assist us to draw energy from the spiritual world and manifest it on the physical world. Many blessings to all of us, and I hope we all are able to take advantage, but mainly right now, I hope we understand the concept of what these letters truly are. They are tools, they are vehicles to assist us to be able to control more of what goes in our life, to be more abundant, more prosperous, more loving, more sharing, more abundant in every way possible, less chaotic, our own personal destinations in life. Be blessed, everybody, and all the best, all the best.